Namaskaram. Welcome to the special episode of Energy Talk with EMC, Aravina Urjambagaram. Sir, India is witnessing rapid economic growth, increasing energy demand, and it has also set ambitious climate commitments. How do you view the current energy security scenario of India? We'd also appreciate any perspective relevant to Kerala as well. Thank you, sir.
Well, energy security is always linked with our future. And I believe India's energy security challenge today is more complex than ever because we are trying to simultaneously achieve three objectives: high economic growth, rapidly rising energy demand, and ambitious climate commitments. India is currently the third largest energy consumer and one of the fastest growing major economies. The electricity demand has been growing at around 6 to 8% annually, as we have seen in recent years. And overall power demand is expected to more than double by 2047. Therefore, ensuring reliable and affordable energy supply will be central to sustaining our economic growth. But at the same time, India's dependence on imported fuel remains a strategic concern. We all understand that. Over 80% of our crude oil requirements and around 50% of natural gas and a substantial portion of the cooking coal are imported. This exposes the economy to a global price volatility and the geopolitical uncertainties, which we have seen in the recent past. So, in my view, reducing this import dependence is not only an economic policy priority, but also a national energy security imperative. So, what is encouraging is that India's energy transition is increasingly strengthening our energy security part as well. The country has already crossed about 50% of installed electricity capacity from non fossil fuel sources, well ahead of its 2030 target timeline. India has also set a target of achieving 500 gigawatt of non fossil fuel capacity by 2030 and the net zero emission by 2070. So, this demonstrates that climate action and energy security are becoming mutually reinforcing rather than contradictory. Another aspect that deserves greater attention is energy efficiency, which I always support from the bottom of my heart. According to the International Energy Agency, the efficiency improvement could account for nearly one third of the emission reduction which is needed globally, while simultaneously reducing the energy imports and infrastructure investments. We have seen the progresses in our energy efficiency initiatives since last 2 decades or even more. The energy intensity reduction of around 1% per year since last 1 decade, that is a very, very welcome step. Programs like PAT, the Perform, Achieve and Trade, the Standard and Labeling Program, the Ujala Program, and many other national level demand side management programs demonstrate that energy efficiency is a low cost measure for meeting the energy demand. In a country like India, energy efficiency should be viewed as the first fuel if we have to ensure our energy security. You asked me about the perspectives on Kerala. Kerala presents a very unique case. Despite having one of the highest human development indicators in the country, the state is heavily dependent on energy imports from outside its borders. More than 70% of electricity requirement is made through purchases from the national grid, and making the energy diversification and resilience particularly very, very important. The state's electricity demand has been increasing steadily, driven by rapid urbanization, rising incomes, and especially the growing demand for air conditioning and thermal comfort. From the GGGI point of view, we are proud to engage with the state to support them in a low carbon building transition project where the retrofit of the air conditionings in the larger buildings are being targeted. So this makes energy efficient buildings and super efficient cooling technologies extremely important for Kerala as we look beyond 10 years from now. Of course, Kerala has made commendable progresses in renewable energy. The state aims to achieve around 3 gigawatt of solar capacity by 2030 and is actively promoting the rooftop solar and floating solar projects. Given its exposure to floods and extreme weather events, Decentralized renewable energy system and battery storage can also play very important role in enhancing the climate resilience and energy security of the state. Therefore, from Kerala's perspective, energy security is not merely about having enough power. It is about creating a resilient, decentralized, and low carbon energy system that supports economic growth while safeguarding communities from climate risk. So, overall, in my opinion, the definition of energy security is changing. Earlier, it meant securing supplies of coal and oil, but going forward, energy security will increasingly be determined by our ability to deploy clean electricity, improve energy efficiency, build resilient infrastructure, and reduce dependence on important fuels. For both our country and the Kerala state, the energy transition is not a trade off of economic growth. It is increasingly becoming a pathway to strive for the stronger growth, greater competitiveness, and enhanced national resilience.
The next question is, what pathways are available to accelerate this transition? What role can renewable energy, green growth strategies, and sustainable development initiative play in strengthening long-term energy security in India and small states like Kerala?
Well, thanks for the question. In my view, renewable energy and green growth strategies and sustainable development are no longer a peripheral of environmental concern. They are becoming central pillars to our long term energy security in our country. As I said earlier, India's energy demand is expected to nearly double by 2047 as the country progresses towards becoming a developed country. At the same time, 85% or even more of our crude oil requirements and around half of our natural gas demand is made through imports. So, this dependency exposes us to the geopolitical uncertainties and price shocks. Therefore, enhancing domestic clean energy capacity is fundamentally an energy security strategy. The renewable energy is particularly very important because it transforms India from being an importer of fuels to the producers of energy. We have seen the achievements from in the renewable energy front by the states, by the centers through its policies, programs, and projects. So this transition is helping the diversify the energy mix, improve the resilience, and reduce exposure to volatile international market. However, energy security is not only about producing more energy as we understand, but it is also equally important to see that how we are effectively consuming the energy. Green growth strategy is a new concept being adopted by many countries. Of course, it emphasizes resource efficiency, circular economy principles, sustainable urbanization, and low carbon industrial developments. This can decouple our economic growth from energy consumption and emissions. For example, the building sector and cooling demand represent enormous opportunities. Super efficient cooling technologies, thermal comfort based building designs, and energy efficient appliances can substantially reduce the peak electricity demand while improving productivity and quality of life of the people. Sustainable initiatives also contribute to energy security by strengthening resilience. Climate induced disruptions, whether it is floods, heat waves, extreme weather events, which pose increasing risk to the energy infrastructure. So, investments in resilient grids, decentralized energy systems, battery storages, and smart energy management can enhance this reliability while supporting to the climate adaptation. From the Kerala perspective, these issues are even more relevant because Kerala depends heavily on the imported electricity and fossil fuels and is highly vulnerable to climate related disasters. So, in this state, it should be viewed through the lens of resilience, decentralization, and sustainability. Kerala has considerable opportunities in rooftop solar, the floating solar, battery storage, energy mobility, and even demand side management. So, with rising temperature and increasing cooling demand, the energy efficient buildings and thermal comfort solutions, this can play a transformative role in the state. Every unit of electricity saved through efficiency reduces the need for additional generation and strengthens the energy security that we understand. So Kerala's experience with distributed renewable energy and decentralized systems can provide a model for climate resilient development. The community level solar system, the storage solutions with solar for critical infrastructures, and smart grids can make the state's energy system more robust against future disruptions. So, in a summary, if I can conclude, I believe the renewable energy, green growth, and sustainable development should not be viewed as a separate agendas. They are mutually connected. They are mutually reinforcing pillars of energy security. For India and the states such as Kerala, the transition towards a low carbon economy is not merely about reducing the emissions. It is about creating a more resilient and competitive and self reliant energy future. In the decades ahead, countries and regions that successfully integrate economic growth with clean energy and sustainability will definitely enjoy greater energy security and sovereignty in the long term vision.
What policy, institutional, fiscal, or technological interventions would you recommend for ensuring a sustainable, resilient, and affordable energy future for India?
Well, thanks for the question. In my view, ensuring a sustainable, resilient, and affordable energy future for India, it requires an integrated approach that can combine policy reforms, institutional strengthening, innovative financing, and accelerated technology deployment. Energy security and climate actions should be viewed as a complementary objectives rather than competitive priorities. Well, from the policy intervention point of view, the policy stability and long-term visibilities are very, very critical. Investors require predictable regulatory framework and clear market signals that gives them confidence for making the investments. As we all know, India has already established a strong policy foundation through initiatives such as National Green Hydrogen Mission, the renewable energy targets, the carbon credit trading schemes, and the energy efficiency programs uh, under the Energy Conservation Act. The next phase should focus on translating these national ambitions into actions at the state and the local levels, where energy, infrastructure, urban development decisions are increasingly shaping the future demand. Going forward, policies should increasingly focus on demand side efficiency, grid flexibility, energy storage, sector coupling across power, buildings, transport, and industry. There is also a need to mainstream the energy efficiency as a strategic resource. We must not ignore this particular part. Stronger building energy codes, appliance standards, cooling action plans can significantly moderate future demand growth and reduce infrastructure costs. We have necessary regulatory frameworks in place. So what we need is a compliance mechanism at the state level to ensure these are fruitful and giving the results at the ground. From the institutional intervention point of view, it is extremely important that the institutions need to evolve to support the energy transition. For example, the role of state designated agencies like the Energy Management Center in Kerala and similar organizations in many states, they are promoting these energy efficiency programs, and also the renewable energy development agencies, their role has been extremely remarkable. However, I feel there is a gap in the capacity, the budget provisions, and even the leadership. The distribution companies, our power utilities, they have become financially viable and technologically modernized. Strengthening regulatory institution, enhancing coordination between the central and state governments, and building capacities at local levels will be very, very essential. Equally important is fostering partnership among government, industry, financial institutions, and academia. At the same time, the collaboration with international agencies should not also be ignored. The energy transition is too large and it is very, very complex as well. If we need to address this particular issue, it is not a single stakeholder's concern. Collaboration is the backbone of taking it forward. I talked about the financial interventions as well. So, mobilizing this finance at scale will be one of the biggest challenges. We all understand that. Achieving India's climate and energy goals will require investments running into billions of dollars over the coming decades. Therefore, we need innovative financing mechanism, including like blended finance, green bonds, sustainability linked loans, energy efficiency financing facilities, credit guarantees, and risk sharing instruments. We have seen these instruments in the past in few of our programs. Few have been successful, few have not been successful. But we need all these instruments in place with a robust mechanism. So expanding this energy efficiency companies like ESCO models and developing green taxonomies can help attract greater private sector participation. Affordable finance is always a concern, and this is particularly important for our households, MSMEs, and municipalities, which collectively represent a significant untapped market for energy efficiency and distributed renewable energy. From the technology intervention point of view, it is extremely important because it is an enabler for energy security. The renewable energy must be complemented by battery storage, smart grids, digitalization, advanced metering infrastructure, and demand response system. Green hydrogen, carbon capture storage for hard to abate sectors, and domestic manufacturing of clean energy technologies will be increasingly important as we see a better energy security in for the future. For the states like Kerala, resilience must be at the heart of the energy transition, given its dependence on important energy and vulnerability to floods and extreme weather events. Decentralized renewable energy system, electric cooking, rooftop solar, battery storage, and resilient infrastructure should be prioritized. Kerala can also become a leader in demand side management, electric mobility, clean cooking, and climate resilient buildings. In many ways, the state's development model aligns naturally with its principle of green growth and distributed energy system. Ultimately, I believe India's energy future will not be secured solely by producing more energy. It will be secured by producing cleaner energy, consuming energy more efficiently, strengthening institutions, mobilizing innovative finance, and building resilience into our infrastructure and communities. If I were to summarize the priorities in 4 words, this would be policy certainty, institutional capacity, financial innovation, and technological transformation. These 4 pillars will determine whether India can simultaneously achieve energy security, economic growth, and climate resilience in the decades ahead.
Thank you.